Hello again, everyone. This is Randy, your sewing machine man, and today we have what I call a troublesome singer. And you might say, well, is there any other kind? Yes, there is. The old trusty ones, the cinematic stuff like that, they don't seem to give me much bother. But the new ones, when they lock up, this one came in locked up. When they come in locked up, it's just, well, get after it, because it could be anything. You have to take everything off, all the shrouds, go to every bearing, check every, because it's, you oil it and say, well, that's good. Nope, you gotta sometimes take it, spin it, take it apart. And this one, wasn't behind the driver. It wasn't either one of the main bearings on the bottom or main bearings on the top, or it wasn't in the feed eccentric up here on top, which usually hangs up. It was over here on the side. There was a daggone little connector right behind here that was just absolutely locked up, so this wouldn't turn. It would go about halfway and stop, halfway and stop. Got the thing going back and forth, but in order to get to it, you have to take everything off. And about 10-15 screws later, you'll get it taken off and get to everything. You got to be careful taking these apart. Usually when I see one like this, I'm getting ready to strip it and throw it in the recycle bin, because that's what I do to most of these. But this one was worth saving, because this is one of the rare ones that has, believe it or not, a steel gear driving a brass gear down here underneath. And that is rare. And this one is the Singer Tradition. And that's just the coolest name ever, because, Singer has a nice tradition of making great machines. They sure did. And this is going to be a model number 2250. The 2250, the Tradition. And I don't know if they put steel gears in all of them, but because it did have a steel gear, this one was worth the effort of going through all this. When you take this front piece off, right here, this front shroud, you have to make sure there's a screw right here in the dead center, because it comes off over here and over here, and you think, wow, I want to come off. This screw right here, and it's accessible through a hole in the back, and you got to take that off, take it off. And then this knob on the front, it just snaps on, snap, but taking it off, and here, this will snap on. When you go to take it off, you got to be very careful, because it will break, and then you have more problems than you started with, because then you have to get another one of these guys right here. You don't want to do that, because you're not going to get it from Singer. You might. It'd be an act of Congress to get it, but you can glue it and all that stuff. But just be careful taking it off. I put a driver in the back and I tap it off to make sure I don't pry it and break it. It's got to be real careful with these. Your length dial comes off, and your stitch reverse comes off, and getting to it, it's just a matter of going through A to Z. But this one, I'm gonna say it was worth the trouble, because it has a steel gear, and it's gonna give young lady plenty of service, or she'll keep it serviced, because these things aren't very forgiving when they run out of oil, and they do that quite often. I'm not sure they oil them up much from the factory. They put some kind of an old lithium grease on them, it dries out, they get kind of grouchy and hard to turn. The belt was too tight, that'll burn the motor up. They can have everything in the world wrong with them, and if they have a steel gear, it's worth correcting all the problems. Otherwise, I strip them, I throw them in the dumpster, because the customers, well, I'll just get another one. And I try to help them with that, or send them someplace to get something that's worthwhile. But a lot of times these plastic gears are broken and it's game over. So this is the little Singer Tradition, and it's running with no clothes on, because we got to put it all back together and get it back to the customer. But it's going to be okay.